In this example, I will show you how application question of factorization looks like. So it's a very common question that they will ask during exam. Okay, so if you look at, so this one can be found in your book, page 221. So I'm just putting it here so that it's easier for you to revise. So in application question, right, there's always first part is a very basic factorization. So if you look, if they ask you to factorize this, so by now you should be able to see that A is a common factor. So by now you should be able to see A is a common factor, and you should be able to factorize out with not much issue. Okay, the trick is on the hence part. Hence part, in math, you always see a hence. Hence means you use your previous answer to help you. Hence means you must use the previous answer to help you. Okay, so how am I going to use the previous answer to help me? So if you look carefully, so how is this related to the previous answer? So you must see that it's a product. So in the first part, you have a common factor. A is a common factor. So in the second part, okay, so can you see that your common factor is actually 962? So 962 times 47 plus 962 times 53. So it behaves like AX plus AY. So when we say this is a hence, right, that means there must be a relationship. So in the equivalence, what is the A? So to me, right, if you observe carefully, A is the 962. A is the 962 because that is like the A that has been taken out. So you must show the same method. You take out 962 and you are left with 47 plus 53. So you take out 962 and then you have 47 plus 53, which gave you 100. So I get the answer 96200 without pressing calculator. You must show the take out common factor. So like here, if you don't show, you actually got no marks. Whoever go and straight away punch calculator without showing any working and you get this, you also get no marks because you never show your factorization. So the important thing will be, how do you show your factorization? So this is the step that you must show. Without this step, you get no marks, even if your answer is correct. Because if you just punch calculator, you can get the answer. Okay, so you must show the take out common factor. That means you apply the method in part A. So in part A is a common factor, you factorize it out. So in part B, 962 is the equivalence of A. So it is the same thing as take out common factor. So that's going to be the same for the next question here. So first part is always very easy. You should be able to see that X is your common factor. For the second part, you need to try to find out the common factor. So you reshuffle a bit. You realize that this is like the X. You can see that X, previously X is a common factor, but right now, my 3182 is a common factor. So I'm going to show the taking out of the common factor. So you get 67 minus 57. So once you take out the common factor, this is a very nice number. So you actually can evaluate without using calculator. that mentally you know how to understand. So you must show the take out common factor because of the hence. So in part A, the main thing is X is the common factor. So I need to apply the same method to part B, and that's called hence. And I must be able to see a common factor in part B as well. Okay, so a lot of situations, they are like this. So for example, in this the third question here, first part is rather easy. 7 is a common factor. So if 7 is a common factor, and I need to do a hence here. So you should also be observing that 7 is a common factor here as well. So in part A, 7 is a common factor. In part B, you should also be seeing that 7 is a common factor. So you will get a 7. You punch out the bracket in your calculator, or you can just mentor it. You get a 5, and then that will be a 35. So this part is important. If you never show this part, you will not get the mark. So in application question, right, there are some critical steps. If you do not show, you get 0 mark. Okay, the last one here, some of you might find difficult. If you are not good with power, you will find it very difficult. Or like for example here, so if you take a look, x squared simply means x times x. But some of you, right, have this wrong idea. You don't know what is x squared, or you think x squared is the same as square root. So if you are the kind who will mix up square and square root, to you this one is very difficult. Okay, so for part A, so it's x squared minus xy. So if you see x squared as x times x, okay, observe the two bubbles. Then you will see x is a common factor. So x squared divided by x, that will give me an x. Then minus xy divided by x, that will give me a minus 1. Okay, so no matter how difficult, you use the same logic. There are two bubbles. Find a common factor that the two bubbles can be divided by. So I managed to find out that x is the common factor. So that should be my common factor. So I'm going to apply this idea to part B. So I'm going to apply this idea to part B. And I make use of the same logic. 198 square is a bit like 198 times 198. It is the x squared in part A. So if you look at the two brackets, this will be the x. So 198 squared is something like x squared. So it's 198 times 198. So take out the 198 as a common factor. So you will get this. And the bracket is actually a 100. So usually it lands up with some numbers that you can mental. So if you do not show the take out common factor in application question, in this kind of application question, you get no marks. Whoever can just punch calculator and get the right answer. But if you don't follow the instruction, some of you are very bad in following instruction. To you is that you just don't see any link at all. So follow the instruction. Okay, so math is all about following instruction and read carefully. And it's always about method being not changed. So the technique doesn't change. The question keep changing. Okay, so if you have that in your mind, right, things will work out very easily for math. A big idea. So everything has a fixed method, but the question will keep changing. So if you look at these 4 questions, they are actually same idea. Take out common factor and you relate, apply it to numbers. But if you don't see it as a common method, you find that these 4 questions are all different, then you're not seeing it the right way. Okay, so we apply the technique of factorization onto some numbers. So you make sure you show the technique even though if you are factorizing numbers.